Chapter 4 Alternative Frameworks for Process Instruction, presented by Crystal Joy Mahosay, Rochelle Solitario, Gino Mait, and Ria Flor Hernando.
Alternative frameworks for process instruction.
Irving study and information skills across the curriculum. And Irving, a British librarian with many years of experience, developed a 9-step model for elementary school students to use in a completion of a range of school-related assignments, from relatively simple ones to those of considerable complexity.
Step 1 of the model, defining task, is primarily a thinking stage which acknowledges the importance of understanding the nature of the assignment and the criteria used to evaluate it. Irving 1985 firmly states that it is the responsibility of the instructor to provide a clear and understandable statement of the task outcomes, and the assessment techniques and rubrics. Instructors must also check with students to be sure that everyone understands exactly what is required.
Step 2 of Irving's 1985 model, considering sources, involves finding the best resources appropriate for the task and putting them to the best use. At this stage, an important consideration for students is the physical, example, location and time constraints, and the intellectual, example, reading level and complexity, accessibility of potential resources.
Step 3. Finding resources. Irving 1985 suggests that students use their knowledge of classification schemes to find appropriate information sources. In Irving's view, the key to successful completion of this step is an understanding of how libraries are arranged.
Irving's 1985 Step 4, making selection, requires students to select appropriate resources by taking into account their scope, suitability, reliability, and level, and by considering information in a variety of appropriate formats, from Relia to encyclopedias. The crucial skill, Irving writes, is not that of finding a book, but rather that of being able to reject a book which is unsuitable.
The 9 steps in Irving's 1985 model create a cycle of learning that takes the student from the beginning of an assignment or project through to its completion and evaluation.
Step 1. Defining task, formulation and analysis of the information need. What do I need to do? Step 2. Considering sources, identification and appraisal of likely sources of information. Where do I go? Step 3. Finding resources, tracing and locating individual sources. How do I get to the information? Step 4. Making selection, examining, selecting, and rejecting individual sources. Which resources shall I use? Step 5. Effective use, interrogating or using individual sources. How shall I use the resources? Step 6. Making records, recording and storing information. What shall I make a record of? Step 7. Making sense, interpretation, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of information. Have I got the information I need? Step 8. Presenting work, shape, presentation, and communication of information. How should I present it? Step 9. Assessing progress, evaluation of the assignment. What have I achieved? Step 5. That is, making effective use of the resources located at Step 4. Strategies and activities necessary for successful completion of this step include skimming, scanning, viewing, and listening. Irving's 1985 Step 6. Making records refers to thinking, understanding, and identifying those elements and selected resources that are important as well as the physical activity of taking notes. Step 7. Making sense. In Irving's 1985 model is the most intellectually demanding since it asks students to organize their notes in a way that aids learning, usually by interpreting it, reflecting upon it, analyzing it, and synthesizing it. These cognitive activities require students to link new information from their reading, viewing, and/or listening to what they already know. Presenting work is step 8 of Irving's 1985 model. Although essays and written reports are traditional ways of demonstrating learning and showing the results of students' research, many creative alternatives such as streaming, videos, PowerPoint projects, and dramatic productions, electronic slide presentations, posters,
Dioramas and social networking outlets now exist that are appropriate for the expression and sharing of student ideas and learning. Step 9 of Irving's 1985 model, assessing progress, provides for an evaluation of each project or performance by the teacher, by the student, and by other students. In addition, this assessment should include the student's estimate of his or her learning related to the topic, chosen over and above the quality of the finished project.
Although not formalized in the separate step, Irving 1985 suggested an evaluation feedback. How I am doing intermediary stage would help students track their own progress as the research activities proceed. At the same time, such a step would remind students of the continuing possibility of improving and give teachers an opportunity to intervene in the process and adjust its direction when necessary to avoid disaster.
Eisenberg and Berkowitz Big Six Skills. Eisenberg and Berkowitz 1990 Big Six Skills is an instructional model currently being used by thousands of scholar variants worldwide and is a central focus of information literacy instruction on the K-12 level or NEWEL 2010 in American school districts.
The Big Six Skills approach ties cognitive levels to various stages of the information. First, seeking process by identifying needs or knowledge level. Second, relating the sources to aspects of the problem or comprehension level. Third, selecting channels and resources, application level. Fourth, identifying silence elements within and across information sources or analysis level. Fifth, restructuring and communicating information or synthesis level. Sixth, making judgments about the information obtained in relation to specific needs or evaluation level.
Summary chart, Super 3 and Big Six Skills model for information problem solving. Plan, task definition, information seeking strategies. Do, location and access. Use of information. Review, synthesis, and evaluation.
Stripling and Pitts Reacts model for term paper preparation. The Reacts model was originally devised by Barbara K. Stripling and Judy M. Pitts for use by students engaged in researching and writing term papers. As practicing librarians, the authors were concerned primarily with using the research project people in many high school English and social studies courses as a way to help students develop cognitive creativity, critical thinking, and Stripling and Pitts 1988 Reacts Taxonomy of Thoughtful Research Task. Level 1 Fact-finding, reporting and information recalling. Level 2 Asking and searching, posing who, what, where, and when questions and finding answers, explaining. Level 3 Examining and organizing, posing why and how problems and organizing information to fit the project. Analyzing. Level 4 Evaluating and deliberating, judging information on the basis of authority, significance, bias, etc. Challenging. Level 5 integrating and concluding, drawing conclusions, and creating a personal perspective based on information obtained, transforming. Level 6. Conceptualizing critical, original solutions to problems posed, synthesizing. Joyce and Tolman's e-search model. Joyce and Tolman 1997 have also created a model to guide student research, but their approach differs in a number of significant ways from the models proposed by Irving 1985, Stripling and Betts 1988, Eisenberg and Berkowitz 1990, and Pappas and Tepp 1987-2002. Summary of steps and activities in Joyce and Tolman's 1997 research process. Step 1. Topic choice. Explanation of the research process, weaving activities to pinpoint students' interests, preliminary investigation of library resources, conferencing with teacher, library, media specialists, sharing topic choices with peers and parents. Step 2. Finding information, generating research questions, background reading, preparing bibliographies, in-depth reading, interviewing. Step 3. Using information, highlighting text, double entry drafting, reflecting and conferencing using learning logs. Step 4. Preparing and research product, using the first person, telling about search using learning logs, editing by peers, transferring the research. Grassroots models for teaching the research process. The creation and use of models are the approaches of choice in contemporary efforts to reframe the teaching of the information literacy skills. Not only do we now have a number of wonderfully useful models from which to choose, but the emphasis on the process approach and the demand for curricular connections and collaboration between teachers and librarians and inquiry learning inspired practitioners to innovate and strategize. Yach flipped it. Yach 1997-2002 flipped it model is a common sense problem solving model for students research created in 1988 and based on observations the author made during her career as advising a library media specialist. The title for the model is an acronym and a mnemonic to keep the thinker on task and can be used as a guide and strategy for individual decision making as well as a variety of school activities and research projects. Yach 2002 describes her model as non-linear, goal-oriented, purposeful, and strategic. The 4 steps of the model can be summarized in 4 words. First, focus. Second, links. Third, input. And the last is payoff. The Handy 5. The Handy 5 model, first published by the Research Committee of the Kansas Association of School Librarians in 2001 and revised in 2007, is an example of the effort of one state's professional organization to make sense of the information literacy standards published in Information Power, AASL and AECT 1998 within the context of state standards in math, reading, social studies, science, writing, and the arts. A key element in the Handy 5 model is a collaboration between librarians and classroom teachers and the sharing of responsibility for planning, teaching, and assessment tasks. McKinsey's Research Cycle. An example of school-wide research model is McKinsey's 1999-2000 research cycle, which was expressly created to take advantage of the information-rich environment made possible by the installation of a wide area network. Step of McKinsey's research cycle. Questioning, reframing research topics as problems to solve. Planning, consideration of the best and most reliable sources and how to store information retrieved. gathering, making relevance judgments, and structuring the information found as ongoing activity. Sorting and sifting. The systematic scanning and organizing of data to find that which is most likely to contribute to insight. Synthesizing, arranging and rearranging information until some kind of picture begins to emerge. Reporting, creating the finished projects are the final two steps in the model. McKinsey 1999 writes of them. Evaluating, deciding if more information is needed to answer the questions.